Good night. How everyone doing tonight? God is good and God is good all the time. My name is Irma Jill, Spiritual Divine. I'm here to give you a word on tonight, and I know it's kind of late, but I've worked 12 hours um and I still wanted to put this out for y'all. Um, this topic gonna be God plan for David dream. You know, when God have a plan, God have a plan. And also David had a plan in a dream, but it got switched over to his son. So the story is gonna be like in pieces, and I'm be reading from the study Bible on commentary side. So the story gonna come from chapter First Chronicle chapter 28. I'm gonna go with 2 and 3, and 2 and 3, 11 and 12 and 19. Okay, so King David rose to his feet and said, "Listen to me, my brother and my people. I had it in my heart." See, David had it in his heart. He had it in his heart to build this temple. But God had it in his heart too to get that temple built, and he had it in his heart who was gonna build the temple. Now to build a house as a place of rest for the order of the comforter of the Lord. Now for the footstool of our God, and I made a plan to build it. He made his plan. But God said to me, "You are not to build the house of my name, because you are worthy and have shed blood." Now see, God did not chose David to build this temple because he had shed too much blood. You know, because David was a good prophet, but also he shed a lot of blood. He remember he killed that woman husband, then he turned around and married her. So he did a lot of little stuff like that till God had decided not to choose him. So yet the Lord, the God of our Israel, chose me from my whole family to be the king over Israel forever. Now he chose Judah as a leader, and from the house of Judah he chose the family. So now he had chosen my son Solomon. He chose his son Solomon to sit on the throne of the kingdom of the Lord over Israel. Because see, when God has somebody in mind who he want to do certain things or who he chose, that's who he gonna deal with. So David had in mind, he had a plan. He had mapped out the plan already. He slept on it. But God also had a plan too, and God also had a plan who he wanted to build the temple. So he God chose his son Solomon. Solomon is the son, the one who gonna build the house, my court. For I have chosen him to be my son, and I will be his father. I will establish his kingdom forever. And if he is underwavering and carrying out my command in law as being done at this time. So God already had in mind to have Solomon to do it. Now David, he didn't get too mad. Now he was disappointed because here he gonna encourage his son. He gonna encourage his son right here on chapter verse 9. He said, "And you, my son Solomon, acknowledge the God our Father, and serve him with your whole heart and devotion, and with willing mind, for the Lord searches every heart." See, God searched the heart. And see, that's why David hurried up and just switch everything around. Because he know God will search your heart. So he didn't get mad too long. He probably got mad for a moment. Because he turned around and he encouraged his son. So, and told him, you listen to God, and you do everything God tell you to do, because David also was a good man too, but he shed a lot of blood. Now he understands every motive behind the thought. But if you seek him, he will be found by you. But if you forsake him, he will reject you forever. Consider now. But the Lord has chosen you to build this temple in the sanctuary. So David telling him to be strong, be courage, be strong and do the work. Then David gave his son Solomon the plan. So he had mapped out the whole plan how he was gonna build a temple. So since he's not gonna be doing it, he get the plan to Solomon. So he get the plan to Solomon. The rooms, the part of the door, the ankle, I mean, David had everything mapped out. He have it mapped out. But guess what? When God got a plan, God gonna want to go by His plan. So David is hurried up. He just assumed it was him, and he went drawing out his plan. And David said he slept on. He was ready. And David hadn't got a little old. He was in his little age, but he was willing to build that temple. He mapped everything out. He mapped everything out to build that temple. So he gave his son instruction and told him to be strong and just do it. And he said, listen to God. Listen to God and do everything God tell you to do. Because when God strayed from you, he strayed from you forever. That's what David told his son. So now at 19, all this David said, I have it in writing. Now he had the law upon me, and he gave me understanding and details of the plan. Now David also said to Solomon to be strong. He also told him to be strong. Be strong and courageous and do the work. That's all he keep telling him. Do the work. And do not be afraid or discouraged, for the Lord my God is with you. See, when God got a plan for you, God can always be with you too. So you get stuck and trying to figure things out, you can always go to him, because see, God also had the plan mapped out his own self. Because it's God's plan. So he will not fail you, forsake you. The Lord is finished, and the division of the priests and the Levites is ready for all the work of the temple. So he wanted his son to build the temple. And what David did a whole lot of preparation. He helped the son, because he already was happy, he was energized, because he thought he was gonna be done. So all the hard work and preparation he did, he just turned it over to his son. That was a man did not get mad, and he did not get bitter. It was turned over to his son. Instead of him just getting bitter and getting mad, he encouraged his son. He also helped his son with the preparation, and then the plan that he wrote up, he give it to his son. So that was a good son. He did not. I mean, that was a good father. He did not get mad with his son. He didn't get mad with God. He just helped his son out much as he can. He helped his son with the preparation and everything. 'Cause, David did a lot of building too. So that's why he thought he was gonna build the temple. So I have over here in the study Bible, God plan. David has a dream. And God have the plan, but David had the dream to build the house of the Lord. Now, since he was honored to God, David believed he can go forward with his plan. He thought he can warm God over, and sweet talk him, and thought God was going to just change his mind. But God didn't. When God got his mind made up who he wants to do what, that's who's going to do it. But David and his prophet Nathan discovered that God has a different idea. You think? God can always have a different idea. Because he came to this person here to talk to David, to let David know that his son was gonna do it. So he thinking the man gonna tell him that he was gonna be building the temple, but he also letting them know, no, your son Solomon will be building the temple. So David's son Solomon will see the dream to fruits. Now David built the design as his dream. So he gonna tell Solomon, well, you're gonna see how my dream was when we were finished. Because David had a dream. David was so excited, he wanted to build that temple. So David's son Solomon said, I see the dream. So David accept this change of plan, and he does not want his vision, however noble and mean, more to him than God himself. Now David tells Solomon and the people that God on hand wrote the plan, that he is sharing with them. So now we see that Solomon gonna have to use the plan that God wrote, design. So God designed his own plan. God have a plan and he designed his own plan. He said God on hand wrote his plan that he is sharing with them. So perhaps God actually inscribed his direction as he inscribed the commandment. So Moses did the commandment. So perhaps the Spirit simply inspiring David mind with a plan for the temple. Now, into the way that God does not lead the temple details human imagination alone. God's Spirit controls the process, and the result honor Him. God gonna be involved. When God have a plan, God on your plan, our plan always God plan. God gonna always be in control of a plan. Just because He tell you to do it, He still gonna be involved some kind of way. So he have to build the temple, the plan that God had designed for him to do. So also he didn't use David to build the temple, and also he didn't use David plan. So Solomon had to use a plan that God designed with his hand. He said God, and then he also said God is in control of the process. God gonna always be in control of the process. It's his plan and his design and his process. So he can always be controlling his plan. God had a plan and David had a dream. So he, at least David was not bitter. He helped his son out. He encouraged his son. He told his son, "You listen to everything God tell you to do." So we see that David did not get better. He did not get better. He took the knowledge that he had and helped preparation for his son. And give him some encouraged words. And told him, "Be strong. Don't be afraid. Just do the job. Just do it." So he encouraged his son without bitterness. And he had to use God's plan because God already told him, "I have a plan for you to build a temple." He didn't say you design a plan. He said, "I have a plan for you to build a temple." So David just assumed it was going to be him. And it turned around to be his son because David shared too much blood. So we have to realize our journey, our plan is always God's plan. God know our journey before and the end. It's just like, God said, I want a temple. God, I want a temple. God gonna work out everything before he even get to it. Just like he had with Deborah, when I had preached on with Deborah. He had everything laid out already. He ain't just stood up there talking to her and just laying it out right. No. When he come to you, he got a plan already. He went to Deborah, he already had a plan already. It was already laid out. And all she had to do was just follow the instructions. So when he come to you, he got a plan already. See, God already know the plan from the beginning to all the way to the end. And David just soon was gonna be him, and he done hurry up and design a plan, and then he slept on it and dream on it, how he imagined it, how it's gonna be. But God also had a plan, and God also imagined how he want his temple. Remember, it's his temple, it's his plan. And he picked Solomon. I mean, the temple came out so beautiful. We can see that Solomon did a wonderful job. So we see that God picked the right person to, David probably would have did a wonderful job too. But David hadn't gotten his little age too, so David was kind of old. He was advanced. He got in his little age and stuff, but he still was helping his son do preparation. Still helping his son do preparation. You know, and he get his son to design, but God said, I have my own plan. Because you have to remember, even our journey, it's God's journey. Our battle, it's God's battle. When God got a plan, it's His plan. So we don't need to just jump and try to create our own path and dream on it and trying to imagine how it gonna look, because see, He'll be to change all that around. You dreaming of something, but God dreaming of how He wanted to. He'll shift everything around. Cause every time you look around, God will shift things around. You might go this way, and then all of a sudden God will be like, well, okay, this path not working right. I'm about to shift some things right here. So God can shift things. God can design things. And then one of them was saying, well, if God could do that, how come Moses had to do the commandment? So they won't be sarcastic. So in other words, it was like he could have wrote the commandment himself. But God had this vision. That's just like us. When we have a vision, we want to design our own stuff. Just like us with our own business and stuff like that we do. We designing our own stuff. So when you got a vision in your mind that you want to produce and put out there, nobody can tell you how to do it because you already got in your mind, you already dreaming on it. It's like your vision, your plan, and that's what you want to do. So nobody else cannot sleep and imagine your plan. Nobody but you. So God already had his plan. God already had his design. He already know how he wanted. So David just had to step on the side. Just step on the side. And let God get everything to your son. And we can see that Solomon did a wonderful job. I mean, the temple was so beautiful with gold. Everything was like gold and trim. I mean, it was just marvelous. So we see that Solomon didn't use the stuff that David gave. He had to use what God gave him. That was a pretty temple, and that's the way God wanted, and that's what God dreamed and imagined that's how he wanted his temple to be. So David didn't give him no gold and all that kind of stuff. He give him other little stuff, and God already had in the mind. God already had a vision how he wanted his temple. So we got to respect people when they have their own vision, when they have their own plan, because um they're gonna visualize their own stuff. Nobody else can visualize nobody else's plan. So when God come to you and say, we gonna do this way. I mean, you gotta do it. We gotta do it. Because God got everything mapped out. Our battle is his battle. Our journey is his journey. He already know how he gonna end up. Because he already mapped everything out from the beginning to the end before he even get to us and tell us we gotta go on this journey. Everything already been mapped out. We just trying to figure stuff out, and we cannot figure it out. God is so amazing. He's just so smart in the way he do things. He make it look so easy, and we study be like in chaos, like you know, trying to figure out. We ain't gonna never understand how God do things, and we just have to go along with the flow because we ain't gonna never figure it out. We ain't gonna never understand. God have His own unique way how He do things, and His way always work out fine. So I hope y'all enjoy this word, and remember, when God have a plan and a journey for you in your family, and you think it's gonna be that person in your family, 9 out of 10 it gonna be you, because a lot of times God gonna pick somebody that's unique. David had his turn already. David had gotten his little age and stuff like that, but David still act like he still had energy. He have preparation and all this kind of stuff. But God already have in mind who He want pick. You know, you might have 50 people in your family, and you might be the only one God to pick out that family. So a lot of time he gonna pick. He gonna pick who he wanna pick. Just like he went straight to devil. The first female to be a judge, he went straight to her. He could have went to anybody else, but he went to her and laid out the plan to her of how he was gonna trap this person that was impressing the Israelite. So when God got a plan, we cannot dream on His plan. Nobody but Him. So let God have His plan. Let God have His own vision, you know, and even with our journey, you know, our journey is his journey. You know, he already know how the end gonna be. You know, so I hope y'all have a wonderful night. And nobody can dream your vision but God. You know, so y'all have a blessed night, and I see y'all in the next video.